But the copy I have of this lesson isn't right, really. It's not the way I want to teach it. So we're going to go it this way. So could you just start by writing the answers to these problems down? And I'm going to pause it while you do that. Okay. Do you just want to tell me as a class? 1 minus 1/2. 2 minus 1/2. 3 minus 1/2. 7 minus 1/2. 1 minus 1/3. 1 minus 2/3. Very good. 2 minus 2/3. 2 minus 1/3. We had a sprint like this a while back, didn't we? 5 minus 1/4. And 5 minus 3/4. So our strategy was subtract 1 from the whole number and then think of 1/4 plus something would equal 1 whole. Okay? Let's do the next one. This is just adding and subtracting fractions with like denominators. Okay? So quickly write those answers and then we'll say them together. Okay, 3/7 minus 1/7. Just tell me. What? Oh, 3/7 plus 1/7. Sorry. 3/7 minus 1/7.
2/7.
Good. 3/7 plus 3/7.
6/7.
3/7 minus 3/7.
0/7.
4/7 minus 3/7.
1/7.
Okay, let's look at the next ones. These are just some little fraction warm-ups. So you're going to circle true or false. If you circle false, would you please write the correct answer? Okay. Okay, so the first one, Eileen, is it true or false? What did they do wrong? Shh, I'm asking Eileen. They added the denominators, right? What should the correct answer be? Okay, good. The next one, Lillian, true or false? Sergio, true or false? What should the correct answer be? Yeah, it should be 6/6, which is 1. Okay, let's look at the next one. This is application problem. All right, it says Meredith went to the movies. She spent 2/5 of her money on a ticket, 3/7 of her money on popcorn. How much of her money did she spend? The extension is how much of her money is left. So I want to circle a couple things. Left and spend. Okay? And I really feel like we could do both parts at the same time with the same tape diagram. Okay? So the tape diagram, I'm going to get fancy here. Go ahead and write it down. And how many parts does the tape diagram need? We're going to have to make up our minds. Somebody says 3, somebody says 4, somebody says 2. So let's look it up. She went to the movies. She bought, I'm going to highlight this. She bought a ticket. She bought some popcorn. And she had some left. So how many parts does my tape diagram need? 3. Very good. What would the total be? We actually do know the total. 1. It's all her money, right? 1 wallet full of money. And we're going to write that as a fraction here in a minute. Okay, so we know she bought a ticket and popcorn, and she had some left. Now the first question mark is where?
Left.
No. That's actually the second question mark. We have to add. So my first question mark is here. And you don't have to write that question mark. You can just leave it blank because we're going to put an answer there. Okay? But how are we going to solve this? Add. What two fractions will we add? 2/5 plus 3/7. And last week we learned a new way to add these, didn't we? With parentheses. What's the common denominator for 5 and 7? You're right. Okay, can you solve that? Okay, try not to look at mine until you're done. And that's actually how much money she spent, isn't it? 29/35 of her money. And that's the answer to the first question. Now, some of you said we've got to have a question mark under left also. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, so I heard someone say it. We're going to subtract from the whole. We need to know what the whole is, though. 35/35. Good. You guys have good memory. So I'm just going to write the problem down here. And what subtraction problem do I need to do? 35 minus 29. If you can't do that in your head, is it okay to write it down like this? There's regrouping. So what do I have for my answer? 6/35. So that's how much is left. And this is how much was spent. Okay, boys and girls, this next box where it says concept development and you see two rectangles, we're actually skipping that box because we stopped drawing a long time ago, didn't we? Yeah. So if you are in a class where we stopped drawing a long time ago, you don't need those boxes. So let's turn over to problem 1. I think it's on the back, isn't it? Okay. Everybody find problem 1. All right, so boys and girls, we're subtracting fractions today, okay? Fractions with unlike denominators. So the only difference when you subtract is you have to make sure you are subtracting a large piece minus a small piece. Because if you're not, then we've got problems and we're going to end up on the negative side of 0. So you don't have to draw this, but let's just say I was doing 1/3 minus 1/5. I want to double check and make sure my 1/3 is larger. Is it?
Yeah.
So then I can go ahead and set up this subtraction problem. What's the common denominator for 3 and 5? 15. Can you solve this problem? Try not to look up until you're done. lot of times subtraction is easier than addition because the numbers get smaller instead of larger. Okay? So that seems pretty simple, doesn't it? Let's do one that's a little harder. This one I'm positive that 3/5 is larger than 1/6, aren't you? Okay, so let's put our 3 equal signs and solve this one. Well, if you needed to stay, you could have.
No,
Certainly
he's got to go on his own too.
So what's the common denominator for 5 and 6, kids? 30. You're right. How do I know 13/30 cannot be simplified? No? Because I can simplify 12/15 and 12 is even and 15 is odd.
13
You're getting closer. It has to do with 13. Jesus? What's 13 called? A prime number. So a lot of times if you've got a prime number on top, there's not a lot you can do unless your bottom number is divisible by 13. Okay, but this time it's not. So if I had 13/39, then I could simplify it. Or 13/26, right? Okay. All right. So how do you feel about subtracting fractions? Okay, now we're going to kick it up a notch. We're going to put some mixed numbers in there. Okay, so everybody look at problem 4. Now on this one, we're going to solve it 2 different ways. So down the middle, put a line. There's a reason for why we're going to solve it 2 different ways, and you'll see that in lesson 12. And if I have time at the end of the class today, I'll show you. Okay? All right. So we're before we start, let's rewrite this, but let's do some of it in our heads to make it easier on us. So what could I do in my head? So I could write 1 3/5 minus 1/2. And that takes the whole numbers way down, doesn't it? And it's going to make my life easier in the long run. Now, what should I do with this one? Yeah, I'm just going to leave it here. And I'm going to go ahead and put the plus sign there so I don't accidentally multiply, okay? But can I subtract 3/5 minus 1/2? Is this a bigger piece? Yeah, it is. So I've got no issues with subtracting here. So go ahead and set it up. 3/5 minus 1/2. And I know some of you can't see when I'm writing on the board, and I'm sorry about that. Common denominator? All right, can you solve this problem? All right, go ahead. I'm going to pause it while you do. All right, so help me out here. Adam, what do I write on this first row? Good. And? Awesome. So the next person is Morgan. Morgan, what goes next? And that is, so my answer here that I'm going to circle without the teacher reminding me, 1 1/10. Okay, so that was a lot like addition that we just got finished with. Except, what are we doing in the middle here? Okay, now let's rewrite the same problem, and I want you to write it up above. So 1 3/5 minus 1/2. And you're going to need 4 equal signs this time. This is method 2. And for lesson 12, you're going to have to combine these 2 methods. So it's important that I teach you method 2 while it's easy. Sound good? Okay, so what I'm going to do here is decompose this whole number, and I'm going to turn it into an improper fraction. I'm going to decompose the mixed number. So this would be how many fifths? 5 fifths plus 3 fifths. Everybody write that down because I want you to remember what we're doing here. This is our thinking. 1 whole plus 3 fifths, but we're going to make it an improper fraction. So how many fifths is it? 8. So I'll do 8 fifths minus 1/2. And trust me on this, you're going to have to know how to do it, so we might as well practice it. And when you get to the problem set tomorrow, I won't make you do both ways. Okay, I'll pause it while you solve this. Okay, so I want to take a look at this. 8 fifths times what?
2.
And 1/2 times?
5.
So I've got
11.
11 tenths, which is still an improper fraction. So that means decompose it. And I'm pretty sure that's the answer I got on the first method. Okay, which method do you prefer? Totally. There's less writing in the first one, isn't there? Yeah. So when you have the choice to use this first method, I would do it. We're going to do one more with both ways, and then I'll show you what happens when you can't use the first method. Okay? So let's do one more with both ways. So do you remember that I rewrote this problem? And I did part of it in my head. What should I do in my head, Sergio? I can't do the fractions in my head. So what should I do in my head? Tell me. He said subtract 5 minus 3.
Yeah.
You agree? So I'm going to do 2 3/4 minus 1/6. Then I'm going to check. And here's what I want you to look at. Is 3/4 larger than 1/6?
Yeah.
So I can just write a 2 all the way down. Okay? And then I can subtract the other numbers. Is this LCM? Yeah, we don't want 24, do we? So go ahead and skip count to figure out what your common denominator is, please. Six, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. What'd you get, kids? 12. Am I rushing you, or is everyone to this point? Okay, so if I've got 12, and you've got to be careful. 3/4 minus 1/6. Can you solve this one? Okay, so I'm going to pull sticks here. Lila, what do I write here? Times 3. And what do I write here? Good. Did any of you accidentally write 4 and 6? Or did you think to yourself, 4 times something equals 12? 6 times something equals 12. Good job. Okay, so what goes here? 9, 2. Okay, and we like this way, don't we?
Yeah.
But we still need to practice the other way. So way up at the top, rewrite the problem. Remember, we subtracted 5 minus 3 in our heads. So you're going to write 2 3/4 minus 1/6 equals This time it's 4 equal signs. Look at this. Why am I putting 3 lines when I decompose it? Because I've got a 1 plus 1 plus 3/4. And this is, why am I putting this bubble around it? It's my thoughts. Okay? I can think that if I want to when I get better at this. So I've got 1 plus what?
1 plus
How many fourths?
1.
If I add these two together, what do I get?
7.
So I've got 1 plus 7/4. And I need my plus sign. Otherwise, that means times. So would it be safe to say I could put that 1 all the way down? Yeah, totally. There are going to be times when you have to make the first fraction larger. And I'll show you in a minute. So this is method 2. Do we still have 12 for the common denominator?
Yeah.
Yes. So go ahead and solve that one. All right, help me out here. Alan, what do I multiply 7/4 times? Did he say 3? And what about, Fernanda, what about 1/6? Good. So I have 19/12. Is that correct? Okay. And that is improper. So 12/12 plus, oh, I bet this is going to add up to be 2 and 7/12. Remember that lesson where I had you highlight your whole numbers? We don't need that anymore, do we? All right. So how do you feel about this? We obviously like method 1. Don't worry, we're going to do another problem, so don't pack up yet. Don't you have a blank spot down there? Okay, I'm going to make up a new problem for you, okay? So let me get rid of this. Well, that's okay. So you've got a blank spot, correct? Actually, I don't want to take that off. I just want to move down. So let's make up a new problem. We skipped problem 3. That was a mistake. Okay. No wonder I got done so fast. So, but this one's more important. So I want to do 5 1/4 minus 3 4/6. Write that down. And actually, we're going to rewrite it, so you don't have to put your equal signs there. Okay? So, because I can do some of this whole number first, right? What can I do in my head first? 5 minus 3. So I want to do 2 1/4 minus 4/6. Now put your equal signs. And you're going to need 4 of them. Okay, so all I did was I subtracted the whole numbers prior to starting the problem. Okay? Now, I need to decide, can I write 2 all the way down, or do I need to decompose it?
Decompose. No.
Study the fractions carefully.
Right on.
Okay, I'm going to draw 1/4. And I'm going to draw 4/6. I'm going to have to borrow from this whole number. Why? Look up here. Because 4/6 is larger than 1/4. See that? So if I have to borrow from this whole number, I might as well just decompose it. So it's going to be 1 plus 4/4 plus 1/4. So then I've got 1 all the way down. You with me? Now here's the question of the day. Are you ready? What is the first fraction I'm going to write? And I want you to raise your hand if you know. I'm going to give you a hint. Raise your hand if you know what my first fraction is that I'm going to write. I'm going to pull a stick. Isaac, you got it. You guys agree? Because 1/4 wasn't large enough, I had to borrow a whole. Okay? Now, can I do 5/4 minus 4/6? Totally, because 5/4 is more than 1 whole. Okay? What's the common denominator for 4 and 6? 12. Can you solve this problem now? Okay, Cody, what'd you write here? 5/4 times. What'd you write here? 4 times something equals 12. What is it? 3. Okay, and Caitlin, what'd you write here? Times 2. So 15 minus 8. I didn't need my other equal sign, did I? Is that the same answer we got on another one?
Yeah.
That's a coincidence, because that was not planned. Okay, which problem did we skip?
3.
Well, let's go find it and do it. You want to try it on your own?
Yeah.
Okay. Use method 1, don't you think? Yeah. Okay. So Fist to 5, how do you feel about a problem like this? You can do it, can't you? Okay. Good job today. Tomorrow we'll do problem set and practice with the partner.